people are being told that they should sacrifice family to varying degrees, whether they don't have kids at all or whether they sacrifice a lot of the time with their kids to go work. And I think a lot of people don't know what that price tag is going to look like until it hits later in life when they start to have kids, but they can't get out of the job they're in. I think a lot of people on social media think that you're like chained to the radiator at home because people ask where you're at in the comments and stuff. Like,
doing mom shit. No, but for real.
Dude, you are doing mom shit. You're handling a lot.
No, it's good. Like we just have our roles, you know? You work, you provide, you do whatever you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I have like my routine in the mornings, things like that, and then I know what my roles are, and that's like taking care of the home and things like that. And so any kind of roles I have, or my roles that I have, I just try to do the best I can in my roles that I have.
Okay, so I've got a question for you. A lot of people don't know this about you, but you are probably, maybe you can tell me if you know anybody that's better, but as far as I know, you're the greatest female door-to-door sales rep of all time, ever. You sold for Vivint. Yes. Vivint's a huge company based out of Utah, started with door-to-door sales teams going out. It's evolved over the years. Mm-hmm. Massive home security, home automation program where you guys go knock on doors all over the country, and you were doing this through college and whatever else you were doing in your earlier life. And killing it. Like you're putting on hundreds of accounts in the summertime, which is insane, and making a ton of money and just living that good life.
It was a good life.
So now you're doing mom shit.
I am doing mom shit. No, it's, yes, the single life, making a lot of money, especially as a female, was awesome.
Yeah.
But I, especially like when I hit my 30s, like all of that was great, but I knew what I really wanted. But I kind of had accepted the fact that if I didn't find like the man I was looking for, and if I wasn't going to be a mother, even though I really wanted to be, I accepted that that was okay because I had a career where I could take care of myself and things like that, but I never fully felt fulfilled because even though, I was this single girl, I was talking to a lot of dudes and had money and stuff, but there was still...
A lot of dudes.
Missing...
Hundreds.
No.
Have you ever seen Best in Show? Hundreds.
No.
Hundreds. I didn't know that.
No. There's a lot of shows you've seen I have not.
I know.
Because of the age difference.
But we got time to catch up. Okay. That's going to lead me to a question in just a minute. So here, but I got to jab on that for a second. So you have in the wake, the Kylee Franck wake, which is a big name in Utah. In fact, when you and I got married, when you and I started dating, one of my good buddies who's really dialed into the Utah single scene, he was going through divorce about the same time I was. I thought you were catfishing me because I found you on Hinge. I've been on Hinge for 3 days, and I was like, dude, I don't.
There's nothing wrong with dating.
No, it worked. It was magic. So we met on Hinge, and I'm like showing my buddy, I'm like, dude, this girl's messaging me back, but she looks like she's way too cute for a dating app. And he's like, that's Kylee Franck. She's top 5 in Utah.
Oh, my gosh.
So with that being said, you left a lot of corpses in your wake. There was a lot of broken hearts behind Kylee when we met. What is it with a long dating career? What made you settle down with a man 11 years older than you, freshly divorced with 3 kids?
Well, it was not my first choice.
Dude, it literally was not. Dude, literally was not your first choice. This isn't even a lie. She was messaging some other dude on the same app.
I actually was. When me and Adam were talking on the app, there was actually another guy I was talking to, and I was more excited to hang out with him than I was Adam.
Pardon me why I'm trying to gather my self-esteem right now.
And I hung out with him first.
Uh-huh.
And realized that it was not. So I'm like, you know what? I'll go to plan B.
You realize the older the violin, the sweeter the music.
So then I went out with you. But yes, I was talking to someone else before you.
Is it true after our first date? Is it true that you went home and told your sisters you found who you were going to marry?
Yes, I did.
That's crazy.
And that was like probably the only time I've ever done that.
Because I was like the anti-marriage superstar at the time. I was out of a divorce.
You were. And our first date, you were very negative. And you were like, there's no such thing as
I was still healing.
You were like, there's no such thing as a happy marriage. Do you know anyone that's happily married? Genuinely.
Do you?
And blah, blah, blah.
Besides us?
Yes. And
I do too. I was just being negative.
And I was like, man, this dude is just like so just broken, and I am too. So let's do this.
Your mess is now my mess. My mess is your mess.
No.
Yes.
But no, I've also always been into older guys.
Mm-hmm. You had
all my family
your
can tell you
dating
that.
app set for up to 45.
Yes.
And I was at the time
because
40.
your girl has
40,
needs,
39.
okay?
Yeah, you were 29. You were 29, I was 40 when we met.
Yes.
I think it's important because there's a lot of guys, like, when you go through divorce, you haven't been through divorce, but when I went through divorce, like, legit, I was like, it was so fucking awful, the whole process. And you feel like everything is getting destroyed in your life. Like, you're having an identity crisis. You're having, like, a financial crisis. I'm living in my parents' basement. Not when we met, but that's where I went during the divorce. You know,
Things
I went
would
there.
have not gone far if you lived in your parents' basement.
That's fair.
When we met.
Take notes, whoever's watching right now. If you're post-divorce, you got to get out of your parents'
Get your
basement.
shit together before you try to find someone.
I didn't, though. I was in my parents' basement licking my wounds and trying to, like, you know, kind of pick myself back up and get back in the fight, not at all looking to get married again, because the truth is after getting through the divorce, being out of a not healthy relationship, not saying any dispersions about my ex-wife, but we were not good together. When you're not when you get out of a healthy relationship, it honestly felt like just liberation. And there was a difference between me and a lot of my buddies, because a lot of my buddies were like going through a divorce and feeling like their life was over. And I was going through divorce feeling like marriage life was over, because I knew that could screw everything up again.
Yeah,
I'd been in a rough marriage for 8.5 years. And so I was like, dude, I'm just happy to be able to do me. And I had my kids, and I was just feeling really good about myself. But a lot of guys and a lot of my buddies, they don't feel that way. They kind of feel like life is over. And so they go into this no man's land, this post-divorce life, and feel like it's just hopeless. And here's an example that it's not. Like, if you can get out of that, if you can get out of bad marriage, and you can do so, with your integrity intact and with the focus that you're going to improve and work on yourself, which is that was like my goal. I was like, I'm just going to be the best version of me. I'm going to be happy being single. I was negative about the institution of marriage, but I wasn't negative about life. I was pretty happy. Like, I was like, life is
you
good.
Weren't negative about life.
No,
it was
life
just like marriage.
I was like, dude, that shit does not work. And so I was like, never get married again. Didn't even really care about dating. I was getting my arms kind of strong-armed into dating from some of my buddies. They were like, dude, you got to get in the game. And that's when you and I met. But let me go back to what we were talking about just a minute ago. It's hard if people haven't done door-to-door sales, they won't understand the context. When I say you would do 350 security accounts in the summertime, that would get you like $300,000 in a year, in a summer, not in a year, in a summer.
Yeah.
You go out and make $300,000 plus in a summer. When you and I did decide to get married, you brought a lot of resources and money to the table. In fact, you paid for a big chunk of our marriage, our wedding.
I did pay for a bunch for our wedding.
You didn't have to. I could have, but you were just paying bills and taking care of shit and just being proactive. This badass boss chick just, knew how to handle her shit. Why did you want to trade that? And walk me through some of the stuff we were talking the other night. Walk me through some of the things that you've seen with some of your girlfriends that maybe were reluctant to give up the career for a real relationship, a long-term relationship.
Yeah, I think I could give it up because I knew and I know that there's women out there that feel differently, but I know that my purpose, and I've known this for a long time since I was a little girl, my purpose was to be a mother and a homemaker and the best example I got was from my own mother. And, when I was a kid and, stuff was wrong at school, like I knew my mom was always there. I knew my dad was providing, he was out at work, things like that, but I knew my mom was always going to be there. And so I want that. I wanted that. And I wanted that for my kids. And again, like, it was great, like the times of my life when I was like, successful and things like that. But and even like when we got married and I had 3 stepkids, I still had a hard time with it because I didn't genuinely feel like they needed me because the kids have a mom. She's a great mom, and so I'm like, the kids don't need me. And you know how I was, like, it took me a while to like find my role. I'm coming into this family that already has traditions. They've already, been doing stuff for years without me. And I had this huge identity before. And now I go into this family and I feel like I don't have an identity anymore. My identity before was door-to-door sales, being successful, things like that. And then, but then when I feel like when I had Cray and I got pregnant, with our little boy, he just completely changed everything. And not to say, like, I love my stepkids. Like, we have a great relationship. I have a great relationship with your ex, things like that. But, but now I understand that they do also need like another mom at their other home. But when Cray was born, you used to tell me like you never knew what unconditional love was until you had Hazel.
My oldest.
Your first.
Our oldest, yeah.
Yes. And having Cray, our little boy, I see that now. That unconditional love. And even in these years, right now he's 16 months, how important it is for him to be around one of us, like a lot of the time. And I am just so, so grateful. And I would give up a lot just to be able to take care of him and be there for him. Because honestly, like if I go out with my girlfriends or anything like that, I feel okay because you're there. But like, you know how it is. Like if me and you try to go somewhere and Gray's with the sitter, I can't do it. Like I have the hardest time. And that's why we've never gone on a trip since Cray was born without him because I'm just, and it's not that I don't trust anyone. It's just that like, just that love, and just that unconditional love. I felt that with Cray and I'm just so, so grateful for, that you do provide for us. So I can like take care of him and be there. I was there for like his first steps or first words or things like that. And I'm grateful for the job you have, that you are an entrepreneur. And honestly, because I'm an entrepreneur myself, I kind of, I knew I would end up with someone that also was an entrepreneur because there's no way I could have ended up with someone that just corporate world, 9 to 5, no offense to anyone that does that. It's, whatever pays the bills, whatever takes care of your family, but just the way I was as a person. And so I'm grateful even that you have the flexibility of just, being home or if I need you, things like that. And I understand, like I have friends that are single moms. I have friends that, and they have to work and they have no choice. And it's hard. And I have friends that the mother is the provider. And there's
a man around, but the mother's the provider. That's what you're saying. Yeah.
And maybe, and you know what, like, and that's okay, but coming from like a mother perspective, like I cannot imagine like if I was, okay, my maternity leave's over, you have to go back to work. And that's what, after 2 months?
Yeah.
I would not be okay. I would not be okay. And I think there's also just this special bond between a mother and their child because the mother's carried the child for 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's natural. Like you look at the wild, you know, like we went to Africa, things like that. Like it's not meant for the mother to be away from their child. Like you get a puppy, you have to wait at least six weeks, I think.
6 or 8 weeks or something.
6 or 8 weeks before you can get the puppy because the puppy has to be around their mother for that long.
I was trying to lure you away from your career by getting you a puppy for Christmas before we got married.
Some people thought that.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. To be honest, I was playing chess a little bit. I was like, okay.
Everyone's like, he got you a dog, so you wouldn't go out and sell.
Yeah, I didn't try to stop you from going out and sell, but I did try to entice you.
It worked.
No, it didn't. You went out and sold that summer.
I had to finish my last summer off
and I was
strong.
on board. I supported all of that.
Yeah.
So you had this, and you still have this reputation here in Utah for being this amazing.
I don't know if I do anymore.
You do. People know who you are. I hear about it all the time. You're highly successful. How would you compare that high level of success, high level of notoriety with being a stay-at-home mom now? Because that's a huge transition.
It's a transition. And I will say being a stay-at-home mom, there's no reward. There's no recognition. There's nothing. And it's hard sometimes, you know? Like... But when you look at like the bigger picture, and I think like it helps like also seeing like my stepkids, like especially the older ones, like how important it is for them to just have like another, like having that, having like a mother around in their early stages, like when they're really young. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, there's still, like, if people hit me up for Vivint and want a security system, there's still that rush of that high, you know, where you're like, dang, I just made $800 or I just, you know, like there's that rush and things like that. And, but it's just, again, it's a different kind of work, I guess.
So is it better? Is life better now? Or
yeah.
not?
Well, it's more purpose. Yeah. Okay. Because this
and that is,
sweet
I
boy,
think that is the reward though, because you're saying there's no reward to staying home, but I think the reward is that purpose.
No, there is a reward because
and that connection with your child, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and I think the biggest thing too is like I know we made this child, but I did a lot of the heavy carrying.
Maybe I was there for like 30 seconds to kick it off. All right. That was a lot of work.
You know what? And it was a lot of work for me to be there those 30 seconds.
The best 30 seconds of your life?
The best 30 seconds of my life. But no, it's far more rewarding because, again, like money can only get you so much. And dating a bunch of dudes at one time is not satisfying. It's just like, but I just always knew my true calling was to be a mother. Mm-hmm. And so just having Cray and everything, it's far more rewarding than.
So when you and I started dating, like I was not in the frame of mind of getting married because I was just like as mentioned, I was just kind of like, that's the one thing that could screw up things again. But that started to change for me, and within it was pretty rapid, like most rapid transformation for me ever. I never was really super excited about getting married ever in my life.
Yeah,
felt like I should, and felt like it was the right move. I knew because I had a stay-at-home mom. Like I knew how important, as you were saying earlier, I knew how important the stay-at-home mom was for me. and how she would have stuff baked for us when we come home. And the house was, beautiful. When you turned my house, you came into this bachelor house when we met, and when we ended up getting married.
I don't have stuff baked when you come home.
No, there's some difference. You do. You bake a lot of stuff. You make really good food for us and stuff. You're a phenomenal homemaker. You have turned the house that you described as a museum into a beautiful home for the kids, for the stepkids, and for our kid that we have together now. You did something magical I could have never done, and you've created this space now that is just so healthy for these kids. And I knew that even in my first marriage, I knew in my second marriage, like I wanted a woman that had those same values, those traditional values. So I wasn't going to marry a girl that wanted a career over being able to stay home and take care of the kids. It just wasn't even, that would have been a poison pill. Like we would have dated, would have had fun, but it wouldn't have been something that I took seriously because I knew how important it was for the children to have that type of experience, to be able to be raised with a mom that was there for them and solely focused on taking care of them and raising them. And I think one of the huge problems that we have right now in society is that there's just so much bad messaging going on right now where people are being told that they should sacrifice family to varying degrees, whether they don't have kids at all or whether they sacrifice a lot of the time with their kids to go work. And I think a lot of people don't know what that price tag is going to look like until it hits later in life when they start to have kids, but they can't get out of the job they're in or whatever that is. They don't realize how painful that price tag is going to come and how important and how much joy and value comes from having a family. I have a phenomenal career. I love what I do. I'm passionate about it. I make good money at it. It's something I've always been really grateful for. And yet, even for me as a man, I find way more value out of my family life, spending time with you and having a relationship with you and with the kids than anything that I get from work. It doesn't even come close. And so I just think it's really important for people listening to this and maybe making some long-term decisions about where they want their life to go, or maybe trying to course correct right now, how important it is to make family the priority in your life, because there's nothing that's going to give you greater value. There's nothing that's going to give you greater purpose. There's nothing that's going to give you greater joy and happiness in this life than the relationships that you have in your family. If you do it right, if you marry the right person, if you are the right person, and if you really make raising kids together and building a family together your priority, there's just nothing that even comes close. And too many people are willing to trade that for a W-2, to go work for a corporation that doesn't give a shit about them, try to arm wrestle the way to the top of the corporate ladder, get a promotion, whatever else, and trade that divine birthright for a mess of pottage.